What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm going to be returning to my series of cheap knives that I don't like. I'm sure you could have guessed that by the title and thumbnail. This is my best example to date of an absolutely terrible folding knife. And let me make this really clear. I don't enjoy the negative reviews or overviews that I do. It's more so because I see every now and then somebody carrying something like this, and it's almost like they assume that it's like a safe, functional folding knife, and or that it's somehow utilitarian, or and more so, I don't want to say educational, but I would really like to steer people away from stuff like this, especially stuff like, really like this particularly, or the brand, so that people can kind of get into a more usable utilitarian folding knife. So I am going to tear this thing apart. So if this is your knife and you love it, I'm sorry, if you really love this, and you should continue to enjoy it. You don't have to listen to me, but I am going to tear this thing apart. This is called the Tac Force Gothic Cross Dagger Flipper. I don't know if getting the name exactly right is really appropriate. Tac Force in general, they do a lot of knives like these. They are designed aesthetically to appeal to a very particular crowd. I call them mall ninjas, as well as a lot of people on the forums or in the knife world. This is a very tactical, ninja, looking kind of. It looks like a weapon, and it's designed to appeal to people who think like that. To me, folding knives are tools. They're nothing but tools. I prefer to think of them like that. So stuff like this, obviously, is not something that I would ever carry. I can find this online as cheap as $8.90, which is inexpensive, but still an absolute ripoff for something like this. This is something, again, I would not pay $1 to own. And if I got it for free, I would never carry it. Here's the problem, though. I am finding them on Amazon as expensive as $50. $50. If you bought this knife for $50, you definitely got ripped off. That is just horrible. I could not believe that was the case. What we've got here is an assisted opening flipper that is, believe it or not, it's actually symmetrical. That's about the only interesting thing about this. The only positive I can get it is just they managed to engineer it perfectly symmetrical. And that is not something that's often done, though it is a false edge on this side. This is not sharpened. It's just designed to look like that. And though it is a symmetrical design, they didn't really, you can see here, they didn't really nail the whole symmetrical thing. That grind is off to one side, and that's just a flaw in bad quality control with an inexpensive knife. That's just the way that it goes. I'm going to go at this, like, I'm going to sound like serious, but I mean, like, it's more so just humorous. I'm hoping just for this to be an entertaining video, because it's a humorous video. That's pretty much it. The blade this doesn't look to have hardly been used at all. The blade is incredibly dull. That is not a DLC coating, that's paint. Same way with the handle scales here, that's just paint. Two-tone paint on what is likely a cheap aluminum scale on top of a steel liner. You can see there the liner lock is about 90%. It does have lock rock, and it does have blade play. Absolutely, that is to be expected on something that's horribly inexpensive and has no... I mean, really, like, I mean, even if you were going to try and adjust this as a utility knife, you've got a super thin dagger ground blade that is definitely, absolutely, 100% the most budget. Actually, here is what I was talking about the other day. When blades are stamped 440 stainless China, let's see if I can actually get that in focus. 440 stainless China. Okay, 440 by itself, there's 440A, 440B, and 440C. As far as I'm concerned, 440C it's an outdated steel, but it's a well-rounded steel, and some people still prefer it. 440A and 440B are very low-quality steels. And the hope there is that people will just think that they've heard 440 is good steel. Well, it's 440C that's decent. But they're masking by not putting that letter there and not explaining which grade it is. They're hoping that anybody who's concerned with the steel will just assume immediately that 440 is good steel. And of course it's made in China. Of course it is. There's nothing quality about this. These are stamped and pressed and designed to appeal to people aesthetically. No part of this knife is made out of anything close to premium. And it will 100% break or fall apart on you. That's going to be the case. There's no real expectation of quality with this knife. And come on, the dimensions are ridiculous. I mean, let's do the size comparison here with the Manix 2. So the Manix 2 is 8 inches overall, putting this ridiculous monster at about, I don't know, looks like it's well over, it's like 9 1/4 inches probably. And there are good folding knives out there that are 9 1/4 inches, but I mean, if you're gonna carry around a gigantic knife like that, then the dimensions for regular EDC, it needs to be a carryable size. This is not friendly this way. You can see here the Manix 2 is not necessarily the thinnest knife around. You can see there, if I can get it, with the pocket clip, we're way less thick in terms of how much room it's actually going to take up in your pocket. And I'm not putting the liners and the G10 exactly where this is, because I want people to get a good idea of depth if we're on a flat surface, exactly how much wider this thing is than the Manix. And then on top of that, you have these, they're comfortable for your finger. But, I mean, it's so wide. It's something to catch in your pocket, and the way that you carry it, like this thing pulls out and then snags on your pocket right here. Let's see. I don't want to do this the wrong way. But if you're pulling this out of your pocket and that thing gets caught on your pocket back here as you're pulling it out, it could deploy. You can see that would move up and deploy. A lot of people might say, well, the Emerson Wave feature is designed for exactly that. It is designed for that, but this is one that's just designed for aesthetics and might cause accidental deployment when you're not wanting that to be the case, because there is a torsion bar and a spring in there. And I mean, the fact that this thing just screams weapon, you're going to put yourself in a situation where you don't want it deployed accidentally, and then it's really just going to put a bad taste in somebody's mouth if they're near you. I mean, this is just so bad all the way around. There's so many reasons why you shouldn't carry something like this. I've never had such an amazing example of such a horrible folding knife on this channel. And I really wanted to point this out, because if I could, anybody who's interested in buying a folding knife and they're going to start with inexpensive, this kind of stuff is all over the place, and it tempts people because they just think it's cool, and that it might, I guess some people think that these are made well, but they're not. And yeah, there are expensive knives that look like this, and you can make the argument, well, Rick Hinderer makes knives, and then he's got a collaboration with Steel Flame, and they do Crusader Cross stuff all over. Okay, well, the people who are buying that is for a different reason. Number one, those Steel Flame accessories are handcrafted, made with much more premium materials, arguably, but the main reason people are buying stuff like that is because Steel Flame stuff is in incredibly limited quantity, and you're almost always buying something that's appreciating in value. And don't believe me? Go look at what some of that stuff costs initially. Go to Rick Hinderer's website and look what he originally charged for a Darkness Steel Flame pocket clips, about $180. Try and find one of those for sale on the secondary market right now. A cheap one goes for about $280, and so you're talking about a massive increase in your investment there. That's why people buy stuff like this. When it's stuff like this, it's just a mold and it's just stamped out. No, there's no. I mean, that's just to draw you in the hopes that you'll buy it because it looks cool. The blade is, of course, not centered. It's also rubbing. You've got some handle screws here, holding the frame together, and some standoffs. It is an open body design, and it's got a decently designed pocket clip that is deep carry. But again, I mean, the main thing is that, this is supposed to be a cutting tool. It's barely going to be able to do that. It looks very offensive. You know, it's going to scare people. It's way too big. It's way too long. It's way too wide. It's fairly heavy. I mean, this thing, the Mannix is considered a heavy knife. The Mannix 2 at 5 ounces. This thing's got to weigh like 7.5 ounces. So way too heavy. You know, some people are going to be okay with that, but there's just, for simple cutting tasks, this is above and beyond. In terms of, you know, the look of it, and it's totally unnecessary, and for the most part non-functional. I'm putting this in the category of the worst possible style or category of folding knife you could possibly spend your money on. Even if you do only pay $10 for this, you have wasted your money. There are better things out there for that price, especially, you know, compared to those that I found that they want $50 for this. That's a joke. Absolutely. I really hate stuff like this. And I understand that Tac Force is a company that's just trying to make money, you know, just like any other company. But in terms of the folding knife world, there's going to be plenty of people who agree with me. They really just don't make good knives. And until they start making, you know, more realistic designs, more utilitarian designs, even if they are inexpensive, that's fine. But until they get away from that, this tactical, ridiculous, over the top, you know, Gothic cross, you know, military dagger, whatever this thing is called. Until they get away from that, I'm never gonna say anything good about them, because I don't agree with the whole weapons as knives thing. Weapons are tools. That's how I view them, and that's how they should be viewed. The whole reason that folding knives, you know, scare people is because of stuff like this. You know, and now we've got, you know, different knife laws in different states making it hard for people who do want to carry a knife as a tool. It's making it difficult for them because they can't carry what they want to carry, or what might actually be appropriate for their job or their lifestyle. They're limited by the laws in different states because stuff like this has been made forever. And it's understandable as to why there are people out there who view folding knives as weapons and scary things. You know, it drives me nuts. But here it is in all its glory, the biggest piece of crap I've ever seen in my life. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was at least entertaining. And again, remember, my opinions are my own. If this is your knife and you love it and you were offended by this video, and then I'm sorry. You know, if you really love it, then continue to like it. You do not have to agree with me at all. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to check out my other videos, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel and turn those notifications on, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks for watching and have a great day.